Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Good morning, Tom. Happy Monday. Monday. That's hard to say today for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, you said it 5 times. Couldn't have been that hard to say.
Just processing that's Monday.
Fair enough. I'm doing very well. Thank you, Bob.
I didn't ask.
What's that?
I didn't ask. Did I?
I thought so.
I don't know if I did, but whatever.
You're so into saying Monday, that maybe you did.
That's right. Well, we're talking about joy, and that's one of my favorite topics. So I'm anxious to get right at it. But first, we've got to talk about our networking event, which is Thursday, May 27th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm sorry, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. If you're on the West Coast, join us at 1 p.m. Nice recovery, huh? If you're on the East Coast, come visit at 4 p.m. in the Ring of Renegades. There'll be a link there. You can sign up. It's our networking event. It's our Ring of Renegades Renegade Roundup. We bring together as many renegades as possible to share. And we don't just get in a big line of people across the top of the screen and you're like, oh, when is my 30 seconds going to come? We actually put you in a virtual room with many, actually, one by one, other people, other leaders, other entrepreneurs, and give you a question to talk through so that you can actually get to know each other. And that's the name of the game. So if you haven't done it before, come visit us at 4 p.m. Thursday. If you have done it before, come back. You know how great it is.
Fair enough. Excellent.
That 1 p.m. thing threw me.
Well, that's okay. That's all right.
It was interesting, though. West Coast.
Usually when you do this, you have a lot of joy. I would say that was on the more temperate side of joy, sharing our upcoming events.
Want to know why? See the door back there?
Yes.
It's partially open.
Oh.
So I have to control my joy.
Fair enough.
Or I could go shut the door. It's one of those. If you start talking, I might go shut the door.
You're gonna stand up from your chair and walk away, and turn your back to everyone, and then come back. Interesting. This is video, you remember, right? People are watching, not just a podcast.
That's right. And I forgot to put gel in my hair.
Happens. Anyhow, folks, thanks.
You have that problem all the time, right, Tom?
I don't have enough hair to have to. Well, that's not true. I usually do have to do something with it. Thanks for reminding me.
Sorry, didn't mean to suck the joy out of the morning for you.
That's okay. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. So as we go through our conversation today, we hope that you will share your thoughts around joy and what it is. That's our topic. And the topic of the week will be joy. And we know that helps enhance what's going on, because while we share what's real for us, what's real for you might be unique. It is unique. And at the end, we'll provide our one thing. And we hope that you will also, if you would like to, provide your one thing around what you see as joy. So let's dive into it, Bob. Sure. As I mentioned, we're talking about joy. You said it's a topic you love. And we're talking today about what it is. So since you love it so much, let's have it.
Okay. So I get joy from a lot of things. I get joy when someone I'm working with has a moment where they just figure things out. Something they didn't think they could figure out. Suddenly they're like, oh, I think I see a way to do it. They find a new path. And in some small way, I've helped them clarify it so that they can figure it out. I also get great joy when I write something and the words come out in a way better than I could have imagined. In fact, someone yesterday read me a passage from The Renegade Way. And they said this spoke to me. And I recall writing that section, but I don't recall writing those words. And those words are better than what I could put together in my head right now. And so to me, there's a joy in being able to communicate so effectively and to have those words resonate with someone so much so that they like wanted to bring it to my attention and tell me, hey, this really meant something to me, which brings me great joy. I also find great joy in the fact that you and I do this 5 mornings a week and we have fun and we help people and it doesn't feel like work. And that to me is the ultimate definition of joy for me. When I'm enjoying my work, when I have joy in what I do, it doesn't feel like work. Yeah, I got to pay my invoices and I got to do all that stuff, but it's not like, oh, I have to go to work today. It's just fun.
So would you say that things that are fun for you is what brings you joy?
I think things that are fun bring me joy, but also things that show progress.
Okay.
You know, like you mentioned, I think the other day you were talking about as you've been thinking about your book and as you've been talking through it in your head over the last couple months and going back a year and seeing some of the first broadcasts and going, wow, my thinking has really changed. I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. That brings me joy to see that I'm advancing, to see that the people around me are advancing, that we're achieving new things. And it gets to our point of celebration, right? Mm-hmm. Joy leads to celebration. If you have joy, you can celebrate. If you don't have joy, you don't celebrate.
Right. I feel like there's no reason to celebrate.
You and I would not have had the chitter chatter at the start of this if we were like, oh, God, it's a Monday, but it sure as heck feels like a Saturday to me, and I got to do this stupid thing. Why would I do this? See what I did there?
Yeah, you didn't have to tell me. I figured that out. But thank you for clarifying that. Well,
you know, the bag's out of the cat, or the cat's out of the bag, as it were. What is joy to you, Tom?
I think it's in finding solutions or helping others find solutions. You know, I think it's helping them identify what's real for them, I think is some of the piece of it. Like those are the things that I enjoy most about what I do, is having conversations with someone where they have that aha moment and they're like, huh, I hadn't really thought of that. And usually it's not from me telling them, because that's just what's real for me. It's in them thinking about something in a different way. You know, I was talking with someone yesterday, one of our Renegade Success Network members, and
Tom Brush working on a Sunday. Look at that.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, it was Friday. I forgot. Okay. And just seemed like yesterday. So
I have the feeling myself.
So when I asked him a question, he had this look like, huh, that's interesting. I had never thought of it that way. And I think it's that clarity that others get when they discover things that maybe they hadn't thought about in that way, or they hadn't ever experienced. That was a way for them to grow. You know, it added to their knowledge, experience, and perspective. And I think that when that happens and you see that light bulb go off, there's something for me that is like, I'm adding value to the world in one way or another. And, that the opportunities to do that are, I think, the things that bring me joy. There's a lot of other things that I do that are fun. I don't mind them. Strategic plans, some of the other things that, yes, are a part of the work I do. It's those one-on-one conversations when people are able to be like, huh, I hadn't thought about that. Or when someone does it for me, I would say that's the same thing, is when someone asks me a question that forces me, encourages me to look at something different. And I have a light bulb moment that I was like, yeah, I had never thought about that. It's interesting, in one of the best things I did, whether it was for my business or in my personal other business, officiating, was having a mentor or a coach. When they would ask the question or ask a question, or I would share something with them, and rather than them just telling me, well, this is what they would do, they would be like, well, what do you think about this? What might happen if you did this? If you, rather than looking at it this way, pivot and look at it another way. And when I did that, and there was didn't really think about that. That's a new piece of information and a new perspective that changes what's real for me. And there is something about that lights me up, that I get excited about discovery, not only for myself but for others.
Okay, let's change it up a little bit. You mentioned you're officiating, and you officiate women's lacrosse. I
Right.
know that brings you joy.
Usually.
What is it about that brings you joy? Oh, the door just shut. It's magic.
Magic.
Magic on a Monday.
It's funny when you said that. I got thinking about this song. There was a song, a million years ago. It's Magic, song that I haven't thought about in forever. I was gonna say 8 million years, but I haven't been alive that long. Just seems it.
Who sang it? What was? There are a million magic songs. You can do magic. Na, 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 na,
Yeah, I think
na,
that's
na,
it.
na, na.
And again, never thought about it. Anyhow, sorry, that was a sidetrack moment.
No, I rather enjoyed it.
There's a couple things I like about lacrosse, the officiating. One is the people, not the parents, sometimes not the coaches, sometimes not the players, the other officials. It's a community. It's a community of people who are there to support one another. There's one of my friends, Frank, who usually comes on here and says our names loudly and longly, is also an official. And, he is always talking about how he always has his partner's back. Whether he agrees with what they did or not, as long as that was the decision they made, he has their back. And I think this is a community of people who do that, who are there to be supportive, who are there to, laugh about the things that we do or the funny things that happen, and be supportive when there's a struggling moment. I'm always amazed that whether it's myself or my wife, and if you have a challenge, you have a game that just didn't go as planned, there are always people you can talk to about it and you can have a conversation with. And I think that shared experience creates a very strong community. So that's one of the things that I really like about it. I had a game Friday night, and they needed some help down in Virginia, so I went down and I got to meet a brand new partner, somebody I'd never met before. And it was a bright young woman, and she was great. It was so much fun to just, be out on the field and running around and talking through stuff, and as an opportunity to meet somebody new. And she, she's thinking about advancing her officiating career and was asking me questions about the next step and some of those things. And so again, it was an opportunity to share my knowledge with someone else. So that's awesome. A big piece of it. I also love to be outside, especially Friday night was a gorgeous, beautiful night. It was a later afternoon game, so the sun was setting, and then once it set, the lights were on, and it's just one of those chances where you get to be out there, and running around and exercising is the other thing I enjoy. And there's another part to it because typically you're separated from your partner and you're just kind of out there in your own space. And yes, there's a ton of stuff going around, and there is a calmness about standing there watching the play happen, watching what's going on, that brings some sort of peace. I had never really thought about that before, but as you asked it, there's something about that that's, you kind of get lost in the moment. And I think that's something that is hard to just do. Yet when you're out doing something you really enjoy, it's easy to just kind of get lost in the moment of like, wow, isn't this awesome that I get to do this?
Yeah, time just disappears, right? I've had times when I'm writing where it's like I thought it was 10 minutes, but it was 2 hours, and that time just went by. Or I have sometimes with coaching calls, it's like, oh, that 15 minutes, wow. seems like we just started. And sometimes when we do the hour goal setting calls, it's like, wow, that time just flew by. Even our networking events, I'm always amazed how quickly they move. So, Tom, I did some research while you were speaking. It was 1982. The song was You Can Do Magic by that great group, that rock folk group of the 80s. America.
Interesting.
There you go. Thank you, the fine folks at Google for providing us that information today. Google, if you'd like to sponsor our program, you know who to talk to.
Your niece or nephew, I forget which, will be really happy that you chose to use Google. And I don't even know how else you would look it up. Go to your record collection to look for that.
My encyclopedia?
Yes, correct. Yes, there's no doubt about that.
That is really true. That was one of the funnier things you've ever said. Nick, you caught me off guard. I didn't see that one coming around the corner.
So as we talk about this, Bob, what's your one thing, if you were going to offer it, about what joy is?
I think it's hard to put your finger on what joy is, but when you feel it, even if it's for just a second, savor it. There are days that are hard, no doubt. But when you're having joy at work, whatever that looks like, if you're an entrepreneur and you figure something out, or you get your first client, or you open your business checking account and suddenly see, company LLC on that line with an address, that's, celebrate that, because I think the more you can find joy, the more you will find of joy. The more you look for, the more you look for it, the more you'll find it. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right.
I was really trying to figure that out.
I had it in my head, but it didn't come out right. The more you look for it, the more you're going to find it. And I think often what I find in people who are not experiencing joy is they've forgotten the simple things that bring them joy. They're so bogged down in the more increasingly complex problems that they don't go, oh, I've come this far, or I figured this out, or this has been a customer. Someone was telling me a couple weeks ago, it's like, yeah, this one customer has been with me for 22 years. I was like, that should be cause for a celebration in and of itself.
Sure.
I'm in awe that you were in business 22 years. Now you're telling me you've had a customer that's been with you for 22 years. I would be doing a ticker tape parade. I'd be telling my grandchildren, like, hey, there's one of my first customers. He's still with me. And the person was like, I it's not a big deal. He's paid me over and over and over. And it's like, it brings me joy. It must be nice, right? So I think we lose sight of it when we get caught in the minutia, in the details, in the, how am I going to solve this problem? And it happens to me all the time. It's one of the things I like about journaling. I've gotten back to journaling, and journaling is a chance for me to show gratitude. And I just write down some things I'm grateful for. And I think that's one of the ways that I get to that joy. It's like, wow, that person trusted me with that really important detail that they had never said out loud. How can I not feel joy from that moment?
I like that. It's funny. I think I think at the start of the show, if you had asked me what my one thing was, it's going to be different. It would have been different than what I'm going to share right now. I think for me, as I was talking about getting lost, sort of standing out there on the officiating field, I think that's when I think about what is joy, it's when we get lost in the moment and we don't realize how time is passing. That is something that brings us joy, because we've stopped worrying about all the other things going on around us, and we are solely focused on whatever that is. So that it's something that if it didn't bring us joy, we wouldn't feel that way. We would be looking at the clock. We'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this. I've got to do my invoicing. I've got to, reconcile my.
It'd be a hard drive back from Virginia after the game.
Yeah, right. Like all those things that just provide you the opportunity, or just you're like, why am I doing this? And I think it's funny, as you mentioned, driving back. Like, I would not think that driving brings me joy. And yet there are times when driving allows me to think and think about, like, what is something that's going on? And that opportunity to get lost in thought actually does bring me joy. And I think it's something that I find gratitude in. So I think that's my one thing, is that when you find yourself lost in something, that's probably something that brings you joy.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Is it lost in thought, lost in the moment, or is it truly in the moment, like fully present for that moment? Because if you're fully present for that moment, you're not listening to the clock ticking. You're not thinking about what's coming or what's been. It's literally in that second. You are fully present, wherever that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Maybe.
Okay.
I was trying to think about, there are other things that I do that I fully present that don't necessarily bring me joy.
Okay, fair.
So I think it's when I don't, maybe like when I don't expect it, or,
Okay.
Then that's a point where I feel like, it's like, don't even almost recognize it because you're just in it. Maybe it's in the moment. I don't know. That's an interesting thought. I have to think more about that.
Okay. That might be your LinkedIn piece this week.
Might be.
That's a good thought piece. There you go.
So if you understand what is joy for you, please feel free to share it in the comments. And if you have one thing you'd like to share about joy and what it is, we'd love to hear it.
10 things.
Or 10 things. Correct. And you know what we're going to give you a chance to do this summer is share when you have joy. Share the things that you are celebrating as we go through our summer of celebration inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where you're going to have
I believe it's going to be summer celebration. Woot woot.
You have to add that to the hashtag. Hashtag summer of celebration, WOOT, WOOT.
I'm thinking I might.
Or WUT, WUT. How do you spell that?
I think it's WOOT.
Sure.
Wait, let me go back to my abacus.
Won't do that.
Or my dictionary and look that up.
So, starting Memorial Day, we're going to give you an opportunity, because clearly there has been a lot going on anyway, and the last 16 months, I'm not sure everyone has celebrated as much as they could. And definitely in our business and in our work, many people don't take the time to celebrate what we're doing and what is happening. And so we are going to give you a chance from Memorial Day to Labor Day to share your celebrations. So if you're not yet a member of the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, you should join us. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and you can become part of our growing community. It is a private community, so you have to ask to join. All you have to do is tell us why you're a renegade, and then you can become a growing part of our community of leaders and business owners who are trying to figure out their next step on their own unique journey to success. So with that, I hope that you have a great day. I hope you see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone. Here's some information about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.